Okay, for this lesson, we're going to talk about characteristics of living things and what makes something alive and what makes something not alive. We are going to start off with watching this quick video off of YouTube, and then we'll dive right into a lesson.
Welcome to Math and Characteristics of Living Things. Why are some objects considered alive and other objects considered not alive? Let's look at the 7 characteristics of living things. The first characteristic of living things is that all living things are composed of cells. Next, living things grow and develop. Living things reproduce and produce offspring. Living things also contain oxygen, nucleic acid. Living things require energy for their daily activities. Living things respond to stimuli. Let's see an example. Living things also have levels. Thanks for watching.
Okay, now that we've watched the video, we're going to go right into our lesson here, and we're going to start talking about what are the characteristics of organisms, okay? So, our characteristics of organisms, based on the information that you just watched, what are some of the basic characteristics of organisms? If you were quizzed today, which one would you be able to answer confidently? And how do these characteristics classify organisms into kingdoms? Which one of these do you feel you would be able to answer confidently? And which one do you think you would need to know more about? You're going to put your answer right here or right here. An organism is an individual, animal, plant, or single-cell life form. Organisms are classified into groups. Organisms in the same kingdom have similar characteristics. Characteristics of organisms. You have an autotroph. An autotroph is an organism that manufactures its own food. It produces food through photosynthesis from the sun's energy. For example, you have green plants. Some produce food through the chemosynthesis from chemical reactions. For example, you have deep ocean communities. Which one of these pictures over here is going to be an autotroph? Is it going to be A or is it going to be B? I want you to tell me which one is it and then explain why you think that is the right answer. Characteristics of organisms for heterotroph. A heterotroph is an organism that cannot manufacture its own food. It obtains food from eating other organisms. For example, all animals, protozoans, which are one cell animals, fungi, and most bacteria. With that in mind, we're going to look at A and B again. Tell me, which one do you think is the heterotroph? And tell me, why do you think that is your answer? How does the food web model identify autotrophs and heterotrophs? So, tell me, in which way does this show a heterotroph versus an autotroph? How does it help identify the differences between an autotroph and a heterotroph? Think about it and give me two sentences that helps you identify what is an autotroph and what is not, and what is a heterotroph, and what the differences are between the two. Characteristics of organisms. Unicellular. It consists of a single cell. Main groups of unicellular organisms are bacteria, archaea, protozoa, and algae. Some prokaryotic, no membrane-bound nucleus, and some are eukaryotic, membrane-bound nucleus. Right here, a good example is our protozoa family that cannot be classified as animals, plants, or fungi. So we have a food vacuole, we have an amoeba, a paramecium, and a euglea. We have multicellular, which is organisms that consist of many cells. It's a complex organism. It can be seen with the naked eye, and cells become specialized, such as nerve cells, muscle cells, brain cells. And all of these pictures right here are examples of multicellular organisms. Then we have our prokaryotic kingdom. Our prokaryotic kingdom is a microscopic organism. It has no membrane-bound nucleus, no membrane-bound organelles. It's unicellular, it's primitive. Examples of this is bacteria and cyanobacteria. So the difference between this is our cyanobacteria is like just a little chain of cells that are stuck together. And right here, we have a more complex bacteria that has an inner membrane and a cell wall and an outer membrane and a nucleoid and cytoplasm. Then we have our eukaryotic organisms. These are membrane-bound nucleuses which contain genetic material. Membrane-bound organelles is found in multicellular organisms such as all plants and animals. Some are unicellular organisms such as yeast, algae, and protozoa, and they are all advanced organisms. So as you can see, you have a nucleus right here, and on the outside is your membrane. That is what classifies the eukaryotic cell, because it has a membrane around the nucleus that contains the nucleus in one spot. Let's think about it for a minute. Sometimes parts of words have hidden meanings. For example, the prefix pro can mean early or basic. The prefix eu can mean good. Karyot comes from the Greek word kernel, the center or core of something. When you put these ideas together, why were prokaryotes and eukaryotes likely given these names? I want you to think about it for a minute, okay? And I want you to tell me, why do you think they were given these names? So pro means early, and early kernel, and then eukaryote means good kernel, basically. So what's the difference? What do you think? Why do you think that these names put together why were they given these names, basically. Just tell me your thoughts. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to know what your thoughts are on it. Characteristics of organisms. Asexual reproduction is caused by offspring to arise from a single cell or other method. It's inherited the genes of only one parent. The offspring is identical to that one parent. It's 100% the parent's DNA, and the rate of reproduction is fast. So, right here, you have your cells that are dividing and turning into something else here. Okay, and it's still the same kind of cell, only it's split. So for a quick review, what percentage of the parent's DNA is passed on the offspring during asexual reproduction? What percentage is mentioned here? Sexual reproduction consists of more than one cell, egg and sperm in humans. Two parents means that 50% of the DNA comes from each parent that goes to the offspring. The offspring is not genetically identical. The rate of reproduction is slow. What percentage of the parent's DNA is passed on to the offspring during sexual reproduction? Look at these notes right here and tell me. Characteristics are used as a means to classify organisms into 6 kingdoms. We have the protozoa, the fungi, the animal, the plantae, the eubacteria, and the archaeobacteria. The kingdom of the eubacteria is true bacteria, is prokaryotic, meaning that it does not have a nucleus membrane. It's unicellular. It's found in autotrophs and heterotrophs. It's spherical and rod-shaped. It's found in soil, rocks, ocean, snow, and living animals. Then we have our archaeobacteria. It differs from other bacteria. It's prokaryotic, also remember, meaning that it has no nucleus membrane. It's unicellular. It's found in autotrophs and heterotrophs. It's found in extreme environments such as hydrothermal vents. So, in really hot places. So when you hear archaeobacteria, you want to think, I'm found in very hot places. Okay? For our protozoa kingdom, it cannot be classified as an animal, plant, or fungus. It is a eukaryote, meaning that it has a membrane around its nucleus. They are mostly cellular. They are found in autotrophs and heterotrophs. Example of this is slime, mold, protozoa, and primitive algae. We're going to review the eubacteria, the archaeobacteria, and the protozoa. Look in the image above. Which of these 3 kingdoms would you classify this organism into? And explain why would you classify this into that particular kingdom. So right here is our nucleus, and it looks like we have a nucleus wall. So just to let you know, this has a nucleus wall. Now I want you to think about it, and I want you to tell me which one of these has a nucleus wall. Which kingdom shows that it has a nucleus wall? Then we have our fungi kingdom. It's multicellular, it's eukaryotes, it's found in all heterotrophs and consumers. Examples are yeast, mushrooms, and ringworms. Look at the picture of fungi and explain how you might gather data to support the idea that each of these organisms are multicellular. So I want you to look at here and tell me, how would you be able to tell that this is made out of more than one cell? You have the ringworm, you have the mushroom, and then you have the yeast. How would you be able to tell me that it's made of more than one type of cell? Then we have the plantae kingdom. It's multicellular. It has eukaryotes, which means that it has membranes around its nucleus. It lives mostly on land. It's found in autotrophs and producers, and they make their own food, which provides food for heterotrophs. Then we have our animal kingdom, which is multicellular. They have eukaryotes, which means that there are nucleuses with the membrane. They live everywhere, and they are heterotrophs, also known as consumers. Now I want you to give me your best answer to these three questions. Differentiate, meaning tell me the difference between a prokaryotic and a eukaryotic cell. Identify the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction, and explain to me how the characteristics are used to classify the organisms in the six kingdoms. You may refer back to your previous notes in these slides to answer all these questions. Now, if you have any further questions, and if you think you could look at the essential questions and you feel you need to learn more about one, I want you to put your answer here. If you feel that you understand both, I want you to tell me that you understand both and why you think you understand them. Now, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me, call me, text me, or shoot me a question on our Google Meet.